Hey moms and dads, it's Dr. Scott. So I wanted to take a minute to tell you about a couple of cool things that have happened. So, one of the reasons I do these videos is because I like to help you to know that if your child is struggling with challenges and you've been looking for answers and you're not finding the hope, the answers, the solutions that you need, I hope that this gives you some guidance that there's other things out there that can be done to help your kids. So I just had a really cool story happen today with a little guy who's been coming in here, and he initially presented with sensory challenges, has had a really horrific issue with both sensory challenges, tried a lot of different therapies, and his other issue, what they call a comorbidity, is he has had some really major issues with constipation over his lifespan. So, when he came in, mom's biggest goal more than anything was to get him to start going to the bathroom, because they'd been through issues with having to have things like fecal extractions done, suppositories, enemas, Miralax, X-Lax, and they were basically getting told that this was his life, that he was going to be on Miralax, on X-Lax every day of his life without any hope. And so when mom came in, we had that conversation about what they'd been through, and we performed some testing, and we were able to pretty clearly understand why things were going the way they were. We knew that the birth process was a pretty significant impactor on all of the challenges that he had, because it was a very rough, very difficult birth process. They had to do a lot of interventions, and right from the very beginning they were exhibiting signs that his body was not working the way that it should, his immune system wasn't working the way that it should, colic and ear infections early, lots of challenges, and constipation starting almost from birth. So moving forward, mom comes in, we do the exam and the scans, and we see there's some really clear patterns on here that tell us that, one, first and foremost, that we can help. Number two, that the signs that we were seeing on there were primarily neurological, which tells us that his ability to recover from the things that he's been going through are really high, especially because of his age, because he's still, not even 10 years old yet. So we started with care. It's been just about a month now. And what we've started to see is that he started to show some regularity. It wasn't going every day, but he was getting some momentum where he would go every couple of days unassisted. No suppositories, no Miralax, no nothing. He would initiate and go on his own. So from the last visit, we saw him the beginning of the week, and he comes in today, and it was actually really funny because mom's like, do you want to tell him? Do you want to tell him? And he's sitting there and he's kind of shy and embarrassed because, who wants to tell a doctor, hey, I pooped, right? But so he's sitting there, and she prods him a little bit, and he's like, I went 2 days in a row all by myself. And so, for him, this is a huge deal because it's been a struggle his entire life. And so I tell you this because, a lot of moms and dads are being told that this constipation thing is something that you're going to live with, right? It's the child's just going to deal with it, give them Miralax, give them X-Lax, and it becomes kind of the ongoing cycle. If you're watching this, you probably realize that's not the case, because we see kids every day who've been told the same story. There's no hope, you're going to have to be on Miralax or X-Lax forever, and this is just the way that things are going to be. It's not true. Think of the brain and its job in controlling the body as something that's happening in the background at all times. It's automatic. And so when there's something that's preventing the brain from doing a basic function like helping you to go poop on a schedule, there's something that's not working well in that connection. So when we worked with this little guy, one of the things that we saw right away is that the area of the brain called the parasympathetic system, which is his rest, digest, growth, development, healing, motility division of the nervous system, was really dysfunctional. It wasn't connecting the way that it should to his body. And we could explain this if you ever have questions on the scans, but the scans demonstrate this very well to me. And so when we started care, the first goal was to start showing physical signs of the reconnection. So now that we're a month into care, and he's starting to show some consistency, he's getting momentum. We know for a fact that his brain is changing because that connection is being restored, because it's supposed to work that way. There's nothing pathological. All that stuff has been ruled out. We know that it's literally, for all intents and purposes, an electrical problem, like a blown breaker in the house, right? And when you start putting the breaker back into the on position, the connections begin to return. Differently than a breaker, it's not instantaneous connection, right? The brain has to know the connection's on. The connections have to get stronger and be reinforced, which is what the adjustments do, is they keep that connection strong. And then the brain begins the process of healing. And over time, what happens is that the brain then now strengthens and reinforces that process, so the brain starts to return the organs and glands or cells, whatever, back towards normal. So what he's starting to show is signs that he's beginning to normalize. So if this is something that your child's struggling with, know that there's other alternative help out there. I'm a pediatric chiropractor, and I see this stuff every single day. I mean, we laugh about it because we say, whimsically, that we celebrate poop, but we do. Because we see this happen so often where kids have been told this, they've been told there's no hope, and then we do what we do, and they start to connect, and their bodies start to heal, and they start to poop, and they get improvement with their sensory function, and their bodies do what they're supposed to do, the way that God made us, to heal. So if you're a mom and dad watching this, I hope this is helpful. Do me a favor, if this is helpful, pass it on. Make sure that you're liking this video, make sure that you're sharing this video with your friends, make sure that the people who need to hear these stories are getting this information to them, okay? So this is Dr. Scott. God bless, be elite, and if I don't see you, Merry Christmas.